Even Bill Bengen agrees with me finally. Now, Bill Bengen doesn't know who I am, but many of you guys have sent me this interview that Bill Bengen did on. Bill Bengen's the father of the 4% rule, and it's actually kind of funny because this interview he says how he has his vanity plates that say like Mr. 4% or something like that. So it's kind of odd, but okay. Whatever, dude. We all got a claim to fame, I suppose. But I tell you, man, even Bill Bengen is saying, look, 5% a year is fine. Well, I've been saying this for so long, I can't describe. This whole idea of 4% was always, not anything against Bill Bengen. The whole point was, what's the maximum you can take on any given year to ensure you haven't run out of money? And this isn't to project in the future. It was from the past. That's why I keep telling people the maximum was 4%. If you took more than 4% on Bill Bengen's stuff, which is where the 4% rule came in, there could be a chance you ran out of money. All right, so I've been saying this for years. That was the worst. That was a safe withdrawal rate. Safe, meaning I don't run out of money. But even that, you couldn't even use. See, this is what drove me crazy. You couldn't use that and extrapolate that into future projections because it's based on just things are different. Interest rates change, PE ratios change, the whole thing. I just never liked that. Everything was. We did a sample size of 1926 and 1990 or something like that. And he said over that time, a 60-40 portfolio, you could take 4% out and it never ran out of money, adjusted for inflation. All right, well, that didn't include the idea that interest rates could go as low as they did. And again, this isn't on Bill Bengen, but just like it's weird how it became the rule. And even Bill Bengen says, but anyway, now he's saying 5%. Exactly, 5%. That's what I've always said. 5% a year. I got no problem with that. I mean, if it looks like things are getting dicey, tighten your belt, man. Do I think that's even good enough? No, because I still think you're leaving too much on the table. I do, which is why I'm working so hard on this book I'm writing. That's taking me a lot longer than I anticipated. Because I want to cover all bases, man. I think I got a pretty good gauge now where I want to go with this. I think I'm done for the most part because I've done all the research I could possibly do. I think I've come up with my solution, which is much better than a 4% rule, 5% rule. It's much, much better than that. Anyway, point being is, so Bill Bengen now is agreeing with me. On top of the fact, and he didn't use this, but on top of the lady didn't ask about this, was that 5% adjusted for inflation, the likelihood of you running out of money is still quite low. It's just not likely to happen. But again, where is the evidence that people spend increases with inflation each and every year in retirement? There isn't any evidence of that. That's why I said, man, all right, you got $1 million, take $50,000 a year, man, and take, if you need $60,000 the next year, take it. If you need $40,000 next year, take it. But what's going to happen most likely is at some point you'll probably have a portfolio that's like way big, probably. And you're like, man, I should have been spending more on the front end. Most likely that'll happen. But it means there's a likelihood that you'll have to say, oh man, I took $60,000 out the second year, I'm going to take $40,000 out this year. I mean, this is just essentially the basis of the guardrails. So I just say, like, you got $1 million, take 5% a year, adjust for inflation. I mean, 5% a year the first year, and then see where how things shake out the next. Very simple stuff here. Anyway, it's funny because I've been ahead of the curve for years on this, saying that people don't spend more money as they age. They just don't. I mean, but what about healthcare, Josh? Yeah, you could. How many people actually spend a significant amount of money on healthcare? No. When I'm saying healthcare, I'm talking long-term care, by the way. Not very many. But how about the fidelity study? If you need all this money for healthcare, that's so stupid. It's like, yeah, if you want to use a lump sum, how much you need today for healthcare, sure. But you're going to even need more than that for property taxes, for homeowners insurance. I mean, if we're going to start lump summing how much we need today to cover our next 25 to 30 years of any expenditure, it's going to look like we can never retire. That whole thing is just so fraudulent, it drives me crazy. Anyway, so the point being is, I've been right. I've been saying this for years. Have I ever been wrong? No, I don't think so. Probably. But not when it comes to this stuff, because I don't just listen to some guy. I say, okay, I want to see the due diligence behind it. I want to research it. I want to think this through. I want to go back to my own experience. I've been doing this since 1998. I want to see what else is out there. I want to look at other studies, not just from financial guys in the Journal for Financial Planning, But like right now, I'm reading this thing from the BLS, something, what's it called? Something by the numbers. No. I can't remember what it's called. But this is from 1993. They look at growth, GDP growth from 1950 to all the way up to 1992. And I'm using that and I'm extrapolating that data to say, okay, what, like for instance, service. So we've known that personal consumption expenditures have been between started out about 61% of GDP back in 1950. Now they're about 70% relative, about 68.9%. So personal consumption expenditures have risen relative to GDP as a portion of GDP from basically 60 to 70%. Not a huge adjustment, but still, we've grown steadily since 1950. Why? Well, the reason for that is because services has grown significantly since 1950 as well. And the reason is because we can't outsource services. We can't. Services you can't say we're going to get a bunch of Indians in Bombay to do this for half the cost. You can't do that. Services are stuff that you use, you buy, that local people have to do for you. You see what I'm saying? That's what a service is. You can outsource products that you buy from India, China, and all that stuff, and that makes the inflation rates lower because we're importing those products, but you can't import services. So services have become a bigger and bigger part of the overall economy. Personal consumption expenditures are still, without question, the biggest driver of GDP. The interesting thing is government spending is still about 20% of GDP. Very interesting. That hasn't changed hardly at all since 1950. All right, so I just find that interesting. It just goes to show you the level of exports, or I should say imports, have had a big impact on our GDP. It's driven up services as a percentage of GDP, and certainly driven down exports. That's just a fact. Is that good or bad? Well, it is what it is, man. I would say in a lot of ways it's bad because we're importing all the goods, which means we have our manufacturing bases way down. I showed that. I think I posted this on X just today, that we've lost 33% of our manufacturing jobs since 1979, and that's not good, man. That's not good. I mean, but it's great. We can buy this stuff cheaply from China and India. Yeah, at some point you got to create your own stuff, though. We should be buying everything from our economic adversaries. We should be able to create our own stuff. And just because we can buy from economic adversaries is not good economically, especially if our economic adversaries start squeezing us, like what's going on with Russia and Europe right now. Europe thought they're all that in a bag of chips. No democracy has ever gone to war. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man, you can have a trade war, and Germany is being held ransom essentially by Putin, because Putin says, hey, you don't like me, I don't like you. Let's see who heat your house this winter. And Germany's a world of hurt, dude. It's crazy. It's going to happen to a better group of people, by the way. You get what you vote for, you fools. But actually, I find it sad because a lot of Germans didn't vote for these clowns. They certainly didn't vote for this idea that we're going to freaking export everything or import everything from foreign countries and shut down our nuclear power plants. Just idiots. Just all in the name of the World Economic Forum and green energy. Idiots, dude. But anyway, so it's good to be right. I'll pat myself on the back, but there's plenty more to accomplish. We aren't done yet. So make sure to stay tuned, because I got the meats. I got the meats when it comes to financial planning. Don't forget to Pablo that like button. I'm on the way to the airport to get Maddie again. I think I go to the airport like twice a month, back and forth to pick up kids. Wife goes to the airport, Maddie goes to the airport, Chloe goes to the airport, everybody goes to the airport. All right, hopefully I'll arrive safely and alive. No Falcons game tonight, or today, so the traffic shouldn't be so bad. But anytime you hit 85, 75, and 400, anytime they connect, it's always traffic, dude. It never stops. God bless.